Hello everyone and welcome back to Fournilwrittenalloverit for the 24-25 Championship season. It's time for some predictions. This is a video that I feel like I've been working on for an absolute age, and I'm so delighted that it is finally here. Before we do get started, I wanted to take this opportunity to send all our very best wishes to Colby Bishop and his family after a potential heart problem was identified in a pre-season check by the club's medical team. We can only begin to imagine what a tricky time it is for their family, with the birth of their newborn baby, of course, in the last couple of weeks. Of course, hoping for a successful surgery for Colby and a speedy recovery. Looking forward to seeing you back at it, fighting fit soon. You got this, my son. It's been a logistical mission to put this video together for you, but I'm delighted we're here now and I've massively enjoyed it. It is time to ask some of your favourite Championship fans and football fans for their predictions for the upcoming season, and also their take on Pompey's return to the Championship after over a decade away. 12-year-old Tom is absolutely beaming that I'm even in a position to be able to put this kind of thing together for you. So straight off the bat, I wanted to say a massive thank you to absolutely everybody for getting involved. Please do head down to the links in the description, go and support their stuff because they have helped me out massively here. Like and subscribe and all that good stuff if you go on to enjoy, and if you spot any faces that you recognise, I hope it makes you smile. And just as a little bonus, these guys are not fans of Championship clubs, but I trust their ball knowledge massively, and I thought it would be a treat to have them involved.
Right, mate, Portsmouth this season, I'll tell you what, I've got a really big soft spot for your football club. Obviously, the fans, I love it. The stadium, I love it. And you know what, the first season in the Championship, every single time where a team gets relegated, they want to go straight back up. If they get promoted, they want to stay in the division. There's like different boundaries, isn't there? So I think for you guys this season, you're going to be staying up. That position, I'm going to go for 14th. But that's a good building block to build on for next season. So yeah, 14th, comfortable, and you'll have a good season. I wish you all the best, Pompey fans.
Portsmouth back in the Championship. They've been away too long, haven't they? I'm sure there's going to be some great days and nights at Fratton Park once again in the second tier this season. I've got to admit, I do want to see a little bit more in terms of recruitment. Bit underwhelmed so far this window. Maybe Derby have stolen a march on them a little bit in terms of the three teams who have come up from League One. But I do believe continuity, momentum is a big thing. So I think if Portsmouth can leverage that over the first couple of months of the season and maybe just add a little bit more this first window, I think they're going to be okay.
Mr. 4-0. Where do I reckon Portsmouth are going to finish next season in the Championship? Now, I'm going to be honest, I don't watch a lot of Portsmouth. The only intel I have on Portsmouth is coming from your videos. That is the only stuff I sort of watch on Portsmouth. That might be like an arrogant Premier League, Champions League fans' point of view, but I don't know, man. Like, I know they absolutely smashed it last year, Portsmouth. There was a couple of times where it was a little bit hairy. I know that, but do you know what? I think the aim has got to be just survival. I think you've just got to stay in the league. It's a cliche to say, yeah, it's a hard league, whatever. But there's also a lot of crap in there. As we saw last year, I don't know, obviously you lot are going to be the best blue team, obviously, in the Championship. Now another one has got relegated. But I don't know, man. Fingers crossed. Portsmouth to stay up. Fingers crossed. 4-0 Championship for another season. Come on, play up Pompey. And after all that waffle, I forgot to give a position. 19th, come on.
Thank you to those boys. Right, we're going to take it club by club, starting with Blackburn Rovers. We have Dirk from the brilliantly named Blackburn Roverseas. Let's see what he's got to say. I mean, come on. Not even in the script, that one.
Dirk here from Blackburn Roverseas. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, Blackburn Rovers, this season's not looking the greatest at the moment. Yet to make a signing.
I should say they have now made a signing.
Still question marks about Sam Smodic. And just a lot of chaos going on behind the scenes, which might affect how we perform on the pitch. Of course, just missing out on relegation last season. If we don't really strengthen the squad this season, I do think we're going to be struggling. And I think, honestly, we will be in that relegation fight next season. I'm really going to go a bit optimistic here and say 15th. But really, it doesn't look good. As for Pompey, happy to see them back at the Championship. They deserve to be at this level, if not more than that. And I'm looking forward to the matches both at Fratton Park and Ewood Park.
What a nice chap Dirk is. I genuinely think losing Sammy Schmodic could well drag them into that relegation battle that they've mentioned there, and I know Rovers fans are all too aware of what a massive impact that would have had on their season last year if they didn't have Sammy Schmodic's goals to rely on. I know Ipswich are interested at the time of recording. There's nothing concrete that's been released about that yet. Sounds like Sam Gallagher is off to Stoke as well. There are plenty of off-field issues bubbling around in the background that could well affect John Eustace's operations on the pitch. pitch. However, he is a man that has proven that he can rally the troops during testing times before. Let's hope there's some winds of change at Ewood with a week or just over a week to go. Okay, Bristol City, here's Ben from Robins on Tour.
We're just a few weeks away from the Championship returning, which obviously means I'm being very optimistic and think that this is finally our season that will push on and play for a playoff spot. However, as usual, over the last 9 years, I expect we'll get to around November, December, and I'll be worrying a bit, looking down the table and seeing how far we are off the drop, but also looking how many points we're off the playoffs as well. So it's got to that point now, I think 9 or 10 years in the Championship, I sort of know what to expect. Being realistic is going to be the same sort of thing, mid-table, but hopefully, I'm hoping for progression from last season. Obviously, Liam Manning has had more time now, brought in a few promising players so far this summer. Haven't really lost anyone yet, but obviously as that deadline approaches, I'm sure
And I still don't think they have lost anyone massively significant, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm sure I'd be stupid not to expect one or two to head out the door. As for Pompey, good to have you back in the division. I'm looking forward to visiting Fratton Park. Obviously, great set of fans as well, so looking forward to having you guys at Ashton Gate. How do I think you'll do? I don't think you'll do too badly. I don't think you're going to be, the team to look out for over the season. But from the football I saw you play last season in League One, obviously a good manager, Marlon Pack in the middle. Looking forward to seeing him back at Ashton.
I thought he was going to get a mention.
I think you'll do all right. I think you'll survive sort of 14th, 15th. I don't think you're going to, set the division alight, but I think you'll do well. And obviously looking forward to heading down to Fratton Park, looking forward to having you guys up at Ashton Gate, and most importantly, looking forward to the season starting.
Oh. I thought Ben was going to say, most importantly, looking forward to seeing you, Tom. But there we go. He didn't say that. He's looking forward to the season starting. I think offshore recruitment from European markets could well detach Bristol City from that regulation 12th place finish that Ben's outlined there and Bristol City fans are all too aware of. Obviously, that's certainly something that Liam Manning, as he's mentioned there, will be wanting to shake. And I think there's a pretty good chance he's going to do that. I'm pretty sure Bristol City fans watching this won't mind me saying that it's a place that's turned a little bit stale over the last few seasons. Ben's mentioned there, a decade worth of mid-table Championship finishes. It's a plateau that isn't by design, and it's again something that they'll want to be ridding themselves of pretty soon. They've brought in a centre forward from Vienna, powerhouse Sinclair Armstrong, to add to what is already a promising team. Let's hope it's higher than a 12th place finish this time round. Burnley now, and this is so exciting. I'm delighted to say that the one and only Vizeh has sent this in.
Hello, sending this over for the 4-0 boys, giving my predictions for Burnley for the upcoming campaign, and also a bit of my general thoughts around Pompey as well. And as my dog is pissing over there, sorry about that. But
I sort of edited that bit out. I'm sure you can probably tell what he said.
It's a weird feeling towards the Burnley fan base right now, because we all had this entire idea, this narrative that we're going to come down to the Championship with Vincent Kompany. That's the entire reason why we're stuck with him throughout the entire Premier season. If we knew that he could be going, then he would have been gone a long time ago. He left immediately. We couldn't really complain because it's Bayern Munich. That's an entire story in itself, how that happened, really. And then we've got Scott Parker, which on paper sounds like it's a reasonable signing. 2 campaigns in Championship, 2 promotions. It sounds pretty good as a young manager. However, you've got Bournemouth fans and Fulham fans and Club Brugge fans now giving not the best rendition of his time at the clubs. However, the way how he left both clubs, predominantly Bournemouth, does leave a sour taste in their mouth, so I don't know how much that plays a factor in it. It's a weird sense of how to really judge Burnley right now, because on paper, with our squad, it's still quite a big squad. Some players will end up leaving because you can't expect to keep 35, 40 players in Championship. We're going to have to cut it down, trim it down to like at least 26, 28, right? So it's hard to really call. Our squad's more than good enough to do the same thing again. We've got some great players, some good young players that will also develop as well. It's all about who we keep. And if Scott Parker can get similar style play going again this year in the Championship. So for me, I think anything but like a top 6. If we don't get top 6, it's a failure. That's just how the reality is. So I think a top 2 is definitely more than reasonable to expect. I don't think we'll walk it. However, you've got to be realistic in terms of what our squad and the finances, how much that plays a factor in this league. So it's going to be a fun couple of weeks, especially the first part of the year with Burnley. So yeah, I would say on paper, realistically 2nd or 3rd. I can't say we're going to win the league, but we're going to be within that second or fourth bubble. I think we have to be, really. And then for Pompey, I'm really happy to see the Pompey lads back in the Championship, getting out of League One. I think you guys spent, 8 years, 9 years in League One and even in League Two. It's been a long time coming. I'm happy to get you guys back up here because it's a great club, great fans. I know a couple of Pompey lads as well. So I think with you guys, it'd be a struggle, but I think it'd be somewhat similar to how Plymouth did it last year. I think you have a decent start, a bit of an issue halfway through the year, and then end up surviving in the end. Maybe not on the final day, but I do think you guys will be around the kind of 18th, 17th, 19th area. That's just my general thoughts, but I hope you guys do stay up because I know quite a few Pompey lads, they're good people. So, wish you boys best of luck, and I don't know when you guys play Pompey. I think it's relatively quite early on, like 5th, 6th game. So, I'll see you soon, and best of luck, boys.
So much to unpack there, and it absolutely blows my mind that Liam's gone to all that trouble to send us that in, so I'm massively grateful to him. And also, Burnley away is on my birthday as well, so hopefully, I don't know if he's going to be flying over for that one, but it'd be nice to see him. It would be unbelievable to see him. Buy him a beer and thank you for doing that because he didn't need to do that at all. And just to put it out there as well, I asked for a 30-second clip for all of these people, and that, as you've seen, is 3 minutes long? Yeah, over 3 minutes long. Legend. Love that man. Since that clip was recorded, Valkav Hadki, sorry, butchered pronunciation, you know the guy I'm talking about, the Ipswich keeper, he's arrived on a 2-year deal. That, of course, negates any issue in terms of if James Trafford wants to move on later on in the window. Don't know about too much about that yet at the time of recording. Liam chatted about Scott Parker there. He's come in and been pretty open and honest, I think, about the situation and everything, and although he splits opinion depending on who you support as a coach. Liam talked about arguing with his credentials on paper, and I think that's absolutely right. He has the proven ability to promote teams from this level. That's the bottom line, and no arguments can be had about that. I think his football at Burnley will feel a long way from the previous Vincent Kompany dynasty, of course. Safety Scott has often overseen success based on moments of brilliance rather than prolonged periods of excellency. So good of Liam to do that. I'm so grateful. It is now time to head over the Welsh border. We're going to hear from... not going to speak to him. He's not here, but we're going to hear from him. We're going to speak to Si from Cardiff City World. Oh, he's got an umbrella.
Yes, guys, I'm Si from Cardiff City World. Welcome. Just to talk about Portsmouth back in the Championship. Really, really excited by it. My experience with Portsmouth is interesting in terms of being a Cardiff fan. When I was little, we come across them a couple of times and it was quite hostile and stuff like that, but obviously the most recent was certainly one of the most recent times was the FA Cup final, which was a depressing and frustrating day for Cardiff City fans, but I am delighted to see them back in the Championship. It's where they belong. They always travel in good numbers, and to be honest with you, fan wise I think they were great. Like, they were really good. There was I met a lot of sound lads that day and a lot of sound people that day from Portsmouth, and it was a good atmosphere. Just the result, really, wasn't it?
Not for all of us, Si.
In terms of Cardiff City, I haven't been this optimistic and this excited about a season in a very long time. We are acting like a proper football club with our transfers, ins and outs. We've backed the manager so far, and hopefully we continue to do that. I'm really excited. Bullet will build on what he has already made last year. He made some real good steps with a poor squad, frees and loans just to shore things up. Got us a good mid-table finish. He got his new contract, couple of great signings already, few outs. I'm very excited and I expect us to do quite well. I think we'll be there or thereabouts in the playoffs, optimistically. Nice one.
Nice one, Si. Lots of confidence there from Si. Obviously clearly hoping his team can revert back to that lead position of sort of 3 or 4 seasons ago in the Championship. Chris Willock and Callum Chambers are probably the two most eye-catching ins, the ins that he's talking about there. And the manager has been tied down to a lengthy deal as well over the summer, which could prove to be one of the best bits of business they do. Some concern from our side over the Alex Robertson rumours. Don't know whether that might have trundled on over the next couple of days or so. Led to believe it's kind of his choice whether he goes to Cardiff or Pompey. There's a couple of other Championship clubs interested as well. Fingers crossed on that. It was something I was expecting to rumble on into early August anyway, so no real issues there. We, of course, can say that he is, be careful using the term generational talent, but certainly one of the best talents I've seen in a Pompey shirt in a very long time. And if Cardiff get him, they're a very lucky bunch. I still have some optimism from our side arranging a deal. I know John Messina remains pretty confident that that's something that we could be involved in. Fingers are massively crossed because I just think that takes our summer business through the roof at that point. More on Pompey later on. A midfield dynamic like Alex Robertson, not Alex Robertson obviously, hopefully, from our point of view, but from a Cardiff perspective is very much something that they need. Wilfred Kanga is confirmed as a bit of a star striking signing, which is a bit of speed up top that they need. I reckon Cardiff will be good to go to attack the season. Coventry City next up, and someone I'm a massive fan of, Matt SB, has sent in this.
Hello everybody, it's Matt SB here. Thank you once again, Tom, for having me on. I'm here to share my thoughts on the upcoming Championship season. My thoughts on Coventry? I'd like to see us make the playoffs, although I couldn't do with any more penalty heartbreak after losing the playoff final 2 years ago and an FA Cup semi-final to Manchester United last season. I'm going to say Coventry City will finish in 6th place. We've got Ellis Sims, we've got Hadji Wright, we've got Sakamoto, and we've signed Mason Clark from Peterborough, who was obviously playing in League One last season, and I'm sure you can vouch for the fact that he is a very good player. I reckon Coventry City will just sneak into the playoffs. As for my thoughts on Portsmouth being back in the Championship, I am honestly delighted, and I'm not just saying this because I'm on a Portsmouth fan channel, but I do really like Portsmouth Football Club. I like Fratton Park. I think they've got a fantastic fan base that follow them home and away, and Portsmouth were in the Premier League when I was growing up as a kid, so happy to see this.
That's showing Matt's age, isn't it?
Back on its feet, and I think after last season, what that team did with John Mousinho, I think they could finish mid-table next season. Ooh. I do think if the transfer business pays off this summer, then we might see Portsmouth maybe 14th, 15th, maybe higher. We saw what Ipswich Town did last season. Anyway, best of luck to Pompey, play up Pompey, and play up Sky Blues.
Yeah, play up Sky Blues, play up Pompey. Thanks, Matt. I'm loving his positivity there about Pompey. Callum O'Hare heading off to the Blades, I think, is quite a significant summer move in terms of Coventry, and every time I watched them last season, and Matt actually mentioned the Man United game there, obviously that was one of the few games that I did see of Coventry last season, but he just seemed to be such an integral cog of that team, and I just hope that when you take something so key out of an environment, it doesn't have a knock-on effect. But then Sky Blues fans will be pleased to be able to point to Jack Redoni as not an obvious like-for-like replacement, because I think he's probably a little bit deeper line than Callum O'Hare. However, he was the shining light of a struggling Huddersfield Town team last season. That is an excellent signing and is up there for one of the standout bits of business this summer. Matt mentioned Mason Clark there. They've got a really exciting complement of wingers that I think are going to be pretty devastating to a lot of sides this season. Mark Robbins has literally taken Coventry from League 2 to the Premier League doorstep. Had they got past United at Wembley that Matt mentioned, I think the job he's done at Coventry would perhaps have been documented in a mainstream sense on a much larger scale. He's had so much to contest with during his time there, and he's done so admirably. They've got safe standing in part of the CBS Arena now, which is going to make that place even more rocking than it has been of late. Looking forward to our trip to Coventry and hopefully see Matt soon. Here's a face I'm sure you'll recognise, my mate Jake from the RamsTalk podcast on Derby County.
Hello, Tom. Hope you're well, mate. It's Jake from RamsTalk here. And yeah, where do I think Derby are going to finish this year? It's quite a difficult one because our recruitment's been pretty good and I had us sort of nailed on towards the bottom of the table. But our recruitment has genuinely been pretty solid so far. We made some really good signings, the likes of Kenzo Halmine, Ibu Adams, of course, who you'll know from when we played you last year. So honest answer, I think we'll be 14th, 15th maybe. Whether we make some more signings that make me more delusional, we'll see. But I have a feeling we'll be sort of mid to bottom of the Championship, which we'll take after the last few years. And yeah, a couple of words on Pompey as well. Great to see you guys come up with us. And yeah, I have a feeling you'll be in and around us as well. And let's hope we both stay up.
Yeah, really enjoyed our 2 games against Derby in League One last season. I don't think either side of the sort of the fan base divide would argue against the notion of that being very much a Championship fixture in waiting. And I know that our Sky game away at Pride Park's been moved to a Friday night under the lights, which is going to be a fantastic occasion. I already can't wait for that. I know it's ages away, but still really excited. Yeah, I agree. Business has been strong. Ibu Adams making a return, as Jake mentioned there. That's massive. Strength and additions. Caden Jackson, Jerry Yates, bit of Championship pedigree there. Derby are a club, of course, not averse to being in the Championship. They're usually, you'd find them competing towards the upper end of the Championship in recent living memory rather than down in the doldrums at the bottom. I've made my feeling on Paul Warne very clear on this channel over the last couple of years. I like him a lot. I like his belief that football is an honest game, get out what you put in, that kind of thing. I think he's got a squad at his disposal that could deliver a really positive season for the people of Derby. A lot has been made of his proven ability, yes, to promote a team from League One, but then he hasn't got a lot of experience of keeping teams in the Championship. Very little evidence to support anything to the contrary. Fingers crossed he can. Joe Collins is a Hull City fan. Really grateful to him for sending this in.
Hello everybody, Hull City fan and YouTuber slash waffler, old Grandpa Joe here. I'm just going to talk about what could happen for us briefly. The answer is, I don't really know. We're at the stage now where we've signed 2 players and only one of them wasn't here last season. We've made Ryan Giles' loan permanent. We've lost a lot of the loanees when Greaves and Philogene have gone, but the only departure that was really expected was Ozan Tufan leaving. So we were braced for this. We're just sort of waiting for new arrivals to come in. And with it being Hull City, the business will be left late. If we get the Charlie Hughes deal from Wigan over the line, that's a big signing. Still in need of a striker, still in need of some wingers, a few more bodies in central midfield as well. The honest answer to the question that's been posed of where we will finish is, at this rate, with this squad we have now, I think we will finish probably about 17th. But we are Hull City and we leave business until the very, very last minute. Take everything I've just said about the position with a pinch of salt, because it is likely to and most likely will change. That's the verdict. Thank you.
Cheers, Joe. I think you get a bit of a sense of the apprehension there, and things are moving at quite a pace, and I'll come on to that in a second. I imagine the apprehension is something that quite a lot of Hull City fans are feeling at the moment. Joe mentioned that the loans that have left the club, a lot of the top goal scorers have also left the club as well. Jacob Greaves is a sizable departure. Liam Rossini's replacement, Tim Volter, has added Cody Drammer to the Hull ranks. In the last week or so, I agree with Joe, they're absolutely in need of some incomings and some incoming sharpish. And in order to stop a new manager's regime ideas that he wants to implement, you don't want that to be inhibited by a lack of arrivals. Next up is Luke, friend of Fournilwrittenalloverit's very own little Reese, and he's a Luton Town fan.
After only a year in the Premier League, Luton Town are back in the Championship. And like with any team that does come down from the Premier League, will be a tough challenge for any team in the league, certainly home or away. Rob Edwards, well, he hit his time now for 4 years. And with Morrison and Adebayo scoring 10 goals each last year, I think they will both remain a dangerous threat if they can remain fit all year. I think a top 6 finish should be an easy task for Luton Town. I think with the spirit and the belief that we built up at the Kenny, we've got it all within us. As for Pompey, well, we play you guys down at Fratton Park on the second game. I think when you guys visit us in the Kenny in March, I think those will be 2 very difficult games for Rob Edwards to see through. But I think with the same spirit that we had before, Luton Town have very much the capability of going straight back up.
Nice clip there from Luke. I think, yes, they're in a very strong position to go and get that Premier League status once again. They were the arbiters of taking on several top Premier League teams last season, of course, and taking them right to the wire on several occasions. Rob Edwards, of course, still relatively new to the whole managerial thing, if you think about it, and he's done and continues to do a spectacular job, which absolutely surprises no one by now. Marvellous Nakamba, clues in the name, he's absolutely marvellous. They retain a decent chunk of what came close to being Premier League survival last season. They've had a quiet couple of days. There's been nothing sort of for the last 10 days, which I think maybe the natives are getting a little bit concerned about. There's an interesting question with Luton, and that is, will we see a return to the fruitful, profitable style of football that's proved so successful in the Championship for them, or will they stick to what worked in the Premier League and try to implement it one step down? Rob Edwards has been pretty bullish about wanting to dominate the ball. Let's see how that one pans out. Time for the mighty Leeds United. I'm very excited to say that the one and only Mr. Ollie Ward has sent this in.
Hello, Tom, or should I say good morning, Andrew. Tom has asked me to come on the 4-0 Written All Over It channel to tell you about my club, Leeds United. I'm a Leeds United content creator, and basically, I'm not even trying to be cocky. I genuinely believe that Leeds United will finish first this season. People are saying if you get rid of Somerville and Nonto, you're in trouble. No way. The 49ers, Daniel Farker, Leeds United have got it sorted. I think the team we can put out can be brilliant. I'm thinking 100 points, 100 goals. We are not in around with the playoffs anymore. Pompey, what do I think? I've always had a soft spot for Pompey, not because of you, Tom, but just in general. Yeah. I genuinely believe...
A little bit gutted by that. I'm going to be honest, a little bit gutted by that.
I think you can finish around 14th, 15th. I'm excited for the first game of the season. It's going to be a good one. I'm happy Pompey are back where they belong. I can't wait for the season to start. Love you all. Come on, Leeds.
He's so good, isn't he? He's so good. I'm very much excited as well. On the day of recording, I bought the Leeds tickets for all of us this morning. That squad's a joke, isn't it? I had this conversation with Wardy a few days ago. The front three, or the potential selection for the front three, is deadly. And the ones that we're expecting them to start the season with that haven't gone yet, and I don't even think Ollie Ward's concerned if they do go. Jayden Bogle's one to get really excited about. Sheffield United's loss, of course, and he had something different to an already promotion-hungry Leeds side. He's an easy pick for one of the best attacking right-backs / full-backs at this level in this division. As far as Archie Gray replacements go, that is not a bad one. It is going to be an absolute privilege to go to Ellen Road in what is just a matter of days now, maybe even less than a week away by the time you see this. It is the kind of place that you dream of playing football at, and I mean that wholeheartedly. When we're in the doldrums of League 2, genuinely thought you could only dream of seeing Pompey play at places like Ellen Road again sometime soon, and I know a lot of Leeds fans that I'm looking forward to sharing the highs and lows of the season with. More highs for them, more lows for us, potentially. Very much wishing you all the best, just not on the opening day. However, I'm very much aware that Leeds are probably an even better side than the one that finished last season, so nervous. Middlesbrough next, here's Matt.
What's up guys, Matt here, Borough fan. Where do I think we'll finish this season? I think we'll be back in the playoffs this season. I think Michael Carrick had a lot to deal with last season with a bit of a transition-like season. We lost all of our quality loan players, had to pretty much start again and rebuild. A lot of them players we brought in last season really started to come good, and if we can retain the likes of Rav Vandenberg, Hayden Hackney, Emmanuel Latilaf, we've got such a great spine to really kick on and go for it this season. So I think we'll be back in the playoffs. As for Pompey, absolutely over the moon you guys are back in the Championship. A lot of my earliest great memories as a Borough fan was watching us and Pompey together in the Premier League in the mid-noughties. Obviously, we won the League Cup. You guys then went and won the FA Cup.
Silverware success.
We really did punch above our weight back in the mid-noughties, and I'm delighted to see you guys back up finally. It's been a long time coming, and I do think you'll stay up. I think you'll be comfortable enough, maybe the odd scare, but I think you'll be between mid-table and 18th to 19th, but I think you'll have enough to stay up, which is all you need to do. A quick word for Sammy Silvera as well. Obviously, you've got Sammy on loan. Great player with lots of potential. Hasn't quite gotten going at Borough just yet, but with a good run of games under a good coach like John Mousinho, hopefully he'll thrive down at you guys and he'll have a good season. So yeah, good luck with the season, and I look forward to seeing you guys up the Riverside after you've done that long, exhausting trip down from the south coast.
It's a long old way. I'm looking forward to the trip too, Matt, and looking forward to seeing you up there too, mate. It's going to be a good one. Barney's already booked the hotel, so we're in. I don't think it'd be outlandish to earmark Michael Carrick's Middlesbrough side as a potential for a dark horse this season. They play a really attractive brand of football under him, which I know doesn't give a divine right for any team's success, but it's not a bad thing. Matt mentioned him there, Emmanuel Latilaf. He had an He had an unbelievable goal-scoring streak last season towards the back end. He mentioned other crucial talent in their ranks, and also Finn Azaz, I wanted to say as well, ranked in the top 1% for championship chances created last season in the league. There's rumours of a bid for Bristol City's Tommy Conway. That could be quite a significant move if it happens. I'm with Matt. I think Middlesbrough are more than ready for the playoffs this season. It's Millwall time.
Hello, Chris here from the Millwall Chat with Chaps podcast, giving you my prediction where I think the Lions will finish in the Championship this season. I'm going to go for mid-table, around about 14th. Reason for that is we're a defensively solid side. The signing of Japhet Tanganga was outstanding for us, and I really believe in our ability to keep our defensive resiliency that we showed under Neil Harris at the end of last season. However, I'm not particularly impressed so far from an attacking standpoint. I just struggle to see where we're going to score the goals that would fire us more into the top half. As for Pompey, welcome you back to the Championship. I think you'll be the only team that got promoted this season to be comfortable, and I'll have you down as well as a mid-table finish. Good luck for the season, except for when you play us.
Cheers, Chris. The feeling's very mutual on that one. I like the recruitment. I've said this lately, but there are a few managers that I think not necessarily suit a club better, but know a club better than Neil Harris knows Millwall. He is Mr. Millwall. Macaulay Langstaff is probably not the sort of arrival that you'd immediately associate with one of the most out-and-out orthodox Route 1 styles that Neil Harris swears by, which is maybe why I think he's got a little bit of concern from an attacking standpoint. But we'll see. I'm excited for what's always a tasty one between Pompey and Millwall. There's an extra cup tie at Fratton in there in a couple of weeks' time. Looking forward to that one as well. Here's Liam.
Hello everyone, I'm a Norwich fan and I'm going to be giving my thoughts on the upcoming season and how we'll do. Norwich have recently brought in a new manager, Johannes Hoff-Thorup. He's 35 years old and he joined from Nordsjælland. He likes to play attacking football and has a mentality of, if you score one, go get another. Norwich currently have a pretty strong side going into the 24-25 season, as we have kept Sarah, Rowe, Sargent, some of our best players. But we could do with signing a left back. We've already made one signing, a young centre back, Jose Cordoba, 23 years old, Panama international. If we keep our key players and sign a left back, I think we'll have a good season, so I'll take a 4th place finish, but anywhere in the playoffs really. I'm excited to see what Portsmouth bring to the Championship, considering they haven't been in it for 12 years. A big side like Portsmouth though should be in the Championship and should really be pushing to get back in the Premier League. I think Portsmouth will get a mid-table finish as they sign players like Josh Murphy from Oxford, which is a good signing, and as well, if they get Abu Kamara. Hopefully they don't though, I'd rather he stays at us. We will welcome Portsmouth to Carrow Road and hopefully both teams have a good season.
Nice one, Liam. Feeling quite positive about Norwich from my point of view. Certainly a bit of a fresh start for the fan base. Ben Napper has come in as their new director of football, of course, not to be confused with the YouTube sensation and close friend of mine, Benjamin Natman. He's come in, shaken the place up a little bit, identified the new manager there straight away as the man that he wanted to take them forward. He's got a strong squad at his disposal, plenty of talent, Liam's mentioned it there, tied down to lengthy contracts. He mentioned concern about signing a left back. Ben Christine catches the eye. He's an arrival that's come in since that was recorded. Plenty of scope for growth under a new gaffer, of course. Callum Doyle expected in soon. I know he mentioned Abu there. We'd really like him back. If he's surplus to requirements, Norwich, which I'd be very surprised if he is, he's more than welcome back at PO4. I bet you are all waiting with bated breath and anticipation to see which Oxford United fan I've asked to get in touch.
Tom has asked me to send in some pre-season thoughts.
Look how summery he's looking. Woohoo!
Oxford United's first championship campaign in over 25 seasons. It's been a very, very long time. The overwhelming feeling, I think, is excitement. We're extremely excited as a fan base to be heading into a very difficult but exciting challenge. I think it's an opportunity. It's a chance to test ourselves against some football clubs that have been well beyond our reach for a very, very long time. And of course, there's a real expectation to compete, and I think that's going to be the same for every club that gets promoted. You don't want to be, beaten comfortably every single week. I don't think we've got the manager in the squad that will let that happen. We've got a very ambitious young group. We've recruited well. I think more work to be done as of recording this because Josh Murphy, he's left us. He's joined a football club that also came up with us, Portsmouth, of course, and that leaves us a gap on that left-hand side. But generally, I think in the midfield area, defensively, and in the goalkeeping department, we definitely have added that blend of championship experience and also quality too. Players that have been linked with a fair few clubs at this level and have done well in the leagues below too. I think what we've done is identify what we are as a football club and recruit effectively in that strategy. Prediction, I think it's a little bit too early. I won't sit on the fence. I think we're going to give it more of a go than people would suggest. I think the underdog mentality will suit us. I think the backs against the wall mentality will play to our advantage. And I'm fine being the underdog. I can see why we are the underdog. But I feel as though we can give this season more of a go than some people would suggest. Not because I think they're wrong, but because there's something in this squad that will, I think, maybe provide a banana skin for some other teams. That's all I'll say. Hopefully that's okay, Tom, and enjoy the rest of the video.
Oh, he's a good lad, isn't he? Love that kid to bits. I should say he filmed that from the Balearics for me last week. That is not the view from his Oxfordshire balcony, although on a day like this it probably could be. He said it there, really solid recruitment, identifying key targets, bringing them to the club, Des Buckingham, Ed Waldron, proving to be quite the dynamic duo, a bit like me and Wardy. He mentioned an expectation to compete and the internal ambition within the young group at Oxford to make that expectation a reality. I do hope they stay up, not least because we'll get another season of championship content together. Jam, just another month, first episode out now. In his pre-season predictions, he's got Oxford to stay up, and I think I'm going to back him on that. I was just as shocked as you probably are watching when this video dropped in my DMs. It's time to hear from Pieface on Plymouth Argyle.
Hey boys, you know what, it's definitely going to be a tough season for Argyle. Championship, a hard league, so honestly, again, we avoid relegation is all I care about. We stay up by a point on the final day. Goal difference on the final day, I'm not bothered. So I think that's the main aim. Going to be tough, but we'll see how it goes. You know what? Pompey away, always a game I look forward to. Again, though, it's going to be tough down there. Us, Portsmouth, Oxford, probably going to be teams that are going to struggle. Derby maybe as well, even though they seem to think they're going to do really well. So we'll see how it goes.
Massive thanks to Jack for sending that in. He was literally one of the first to send it as well. As soon as I'd sent the message off to various different places, he just went, yep, I'll do that, and then sent it. So big thanks to him. A couple of loans and frees in the market for Plymouth at the time of recording. Not a lot out the door either, so keeping a squad together. I mean, I feel the same about Jack coming up to Fratton Park as we do going down to Home Park. It's always one of my favourites. The away games on telly, I know this season as well, midweek. Love a midweek in Plymouth. A lot has been made of Wayne Rooney, his appointment, the process to appoint him. The powers that be at Plymouth, I'm sure, will refute the claim that he was picked because of the name. What I would say, for a club that's had a pretty rough championship ride recently, I was expecting perhaps a more settling, perhaps even a safer appointment than going with Wayne Rooney. Not someone who, respectfully, in a range of managerial circumstances that he's had to navigate, he hasn't always invoked that sense of stability that I think Plymouth Argyle need at this moment in time. For me, they need a no-frill season. I wasn't expecting them to board another roller coaster quite so soon after getting off the last one, but we shall see. Pompey time. There are plenty of people, of course, I could have asked to send in a clip to chat about Pompey. There's always so much content about us. There's 4-0 Sunday Lives coming up this season. There's even a new podcast, which might have already been announced by the time you see this, if not have hinted it. I think I can quite comfortably cover it off myself, given how lengthy this video already is. I think despite not having managed in the Championship previously, of course, John Mousinho is an incredibly spirited and talented tactician whose ability to be combative, adaptability to opposition, and just general all-round football intelligence is something that I'm very much looking forward to seeing play out this season. And I think his solution to problems that's a difficult one to say. And I think his solution to problems approach is something that perhaps played a bit more of a major role in our success last season than some people realise. Pockets of Pompey fans have levelled their concerns about the lack of arrivals so far in terms of transfers. We've had a couple of quiet weeks, which is hopefully now picking up a little bit. We know that all three of Cullen, Hughes, Mousinho, they all kind of operate collectively under the cover of darkness when it comes to transfer dealings, and quite often dealings and announcements are sprung upon us with very little prior indication. I think there's a dichotomy and a stark contrast between assembling a squad to win League One and then adding to said squad to then compete in the Championship in the subsequent season. And naturally, there's been a bit of a lack of bite and aggression in the transfer market in comparison. In large part, our memories of swashbuckling recruitment at League One level is perhaps clouding the pragmatism needed in a Championship market that we are extremely fresh to. In other words, gone are the fish. Gone are the fish? In other words, it's been a long video. In other words, gone are the days of being a big fish in a small pond. Now we are probably a small to medium-sized fish in a much, much larger pond. Pompey have also been complicit in the zeitgeist of offshore Championship recruitment. We know about our strength and relationship with the Australian market, cemented by the announcement of Jacob Farrell. I would also have thought that Elias Sorensen may well be confirmed as one of our latest signings by the time you see this too. If not, hopefully that announcement is coming in the not too distant future. He looks to be a really exciting prospect. He'll plug a profile void, I think, in terms of that technical ability. He can pick out a pass, he's a serial goal scorer, so it's a thumbs up from me. Without trying to lower the mood, we live in an incredibly dangerous and more divisive world as the days go on, so to have something as binding and uniting as Pompey back in our lives, something to rally behind and get together on, act as a collective, something we shouldn't lose sight of. In a recent conversation I had with John Mousinho, he used the word consolidate quite a lot, and I think that's very much something we're all going to be looking forward to hoping to achieve. And from what we're hearing from fans across the Championship spectrum in this video, that is a pretty widely shared view. Preston, I couldn't find a Preston fan for the time of release for this video, so I'm going to try and tackle it myself. Preston represent an orthodox mid-table Championship side. They enter their 10th season at this level and only ever finish between 7th and 14th. There's 2 11th place finishes in there. There's 2 13th place finishes in there too. Very steady, very middle of the road, very Preston. Last season's 10th place finish is one of the high ones, despite how consistently mid-table their seasons have been. Sam Greenwood brings a little bit of attacking spark, arriving on loan from Leeds. There's rumours about Alfie Gilchrist from Chelsea, although I'm not sure how material that one is. A couple more incomings, I think, will cement that routine mid-table finish. However, I doubt many are expecting anything other than the ordinary from Preston this season. Here's Greg, who's a QPR fan.
Hi, Tom. At QPR, there seems to be some optimism this pre-season with Marti Cifuentes' first real pre-season with the club. We look to have got rid of some of the deadwood as well, so there's definitely optimism that the squad is in a slightly stronger position and will be more competitive this season. I think we'll finish 12th, although there's quite a big range where we could finish, I reckon, anywhere between 8th and probably 15th. It's a very strong league, lots of things will go wrong, lots of things will go right, but it's anyone's guess as to where we'll probably end up. And I think Pompey have built a pretty decent squad. They've got pace and tenacity all over the pitch. They'll be hard to break down, and if they can use Fratton Park to their advantage, they'll be very difficult to beat at home, I think. Look forward to the Championship season. come on, you Ars.
Big thank you to Greg for that, and what a fantastic tash that is as well. Look at that. Congratulations to Greg also. He's joining Charlton Athletic as a first team performance analyst intern for the 24-25 season, so big well done to him. I think they're right to be optimistic. He's mentioned Martí Cifuentes there, certainly one of the division's top head coaches. He did unbelievably well. He did unbelievably well with QPR last season, or towards the back end, and he invoked such a passion, a belief, a desire to stay in it with his players. They were 6 points adrift when he joined last October. Then they stayed up with 6 points to spare. So what a mammoth job that was. I think QPR fans are in for an exciting ride this season. I look forward to seeing how Marty and his team get on. This guy's very funny. Hal from Sheff United Way. Enjoy this.
Hey, Hal here from the Sheff United Way. Pow. How are you doing? Portsmouth, eh? Woof. Back in the Championship. This is exciting scenes. But first of all, where do I think the mighty red and white Wizards, the Blades, are going to finish in the Championship? Well, of course, still work to be done until that transfer window slams shut, because it only ever slams shut. It never closes. It's hard to say who's going to come in, more importantly, who's going to leave. If we can keep the core of the squad and add some reinforcements, this side is capable of promotion. But it might be tricky. So I'll probably say, realistically, something like third. Playoffs, not our friend. I think it's great to see Portsmouth, a proper club, back in the Championship. Of course, it wasn't too long ago that Pompey were doing bits in the Premier League. I will not be surprised at all to see Portsmouth have, with that vocal backing, a really good season and could surprise a few in the chasing pack. And I reckon Portsmouth could even finish as high as 7th. There'll be many people thinking that's absolutely crazy, but you've got to go into the season with a sense of excitement. Otherwise, what's the point? That's what it's all about. Want to wish you good luck, apart from against United.
How fantastic is he? Yeah, Keith Moore and Callum O'Hare, I've already mentioned him in this video. They are two blockbuster Championship arrivals in this summer window. They're already hitting the ground running, looking sharp in some of the pre-season packages that I've been privy to over the last... Pre-season packages that I've been privy to over the last couple of weeks. Harrison Burrows is another one, of course, easily one of League One's best players last season. Significant set-piece quality to be added there. Twin that with Kiefer Moore's arrival, and it's a pretty strong complement of Championship business so far. However, for balance, Cameron Archer back to Villa, Ollie McBurney's gone, Max Lowe to Wednesday, perhaps most significantly Jalen Bogle, we spoke about him earlier on, departing to Leeds. And then, of course, the elephant on the room in starting on 2 points less than everybody else. I mentioned this on Just Another Month. What's the psychological implications of being battered in the Premier League week in, week out to then come down into the Championship? Are they bruised? Is it liberating for them? The Chris Wilder rebuild is certainly on. Howell's pretty confident. Let's see how they get on. Huge club, brilliant set of supporters. Really excited for our trip to Bramall Lane. Hopefully there's time for a night out in Sheffield and a greasy chip butty while we're up there. From one side of Sheffield to the other, I know they hate being put next to each other and spoken about in the same breath. Apologies. That's just how the Championship alphabetical cookie crumbles. Here's Harry.
I really think Sheffield Wednesday will do better than last season because it's been a busy transfer window at Hillsborough. But the biggest signing for me has to be Danny Roll. He's on a contract until 2027 and he's made such a big impact at Sheffield Wednesday. He's got so much more potential. So I'm going to put Sheffield Wednesday in 10th place and I cannot wait to see what Danny Roll can do this season. It's great to have Portsmouth back in the Championship, a team with so much passion and so much history. But most importantly, Fratton Park, it can be a tough place to go for teams, especially when the fans get behind the players. The stadium can get absolutely rocking. And I feel like that's where Pompey will pick up most of their points this season.
Nice one, Harry. Yep, Danny Roll, massively important from a Sheffield Wednesday point of view. Extending his contract, as Harry said there, he's probably their best asset right now. He's a really high-stock coach at the moment. He's had the length of pre-season to install some uniform and beliefs. You could also argue that their window has been up there with one of the strongest in the Championship this season so far too, not least Jamal Lowe, who I know many of you out there will be thinking, yep, remember him. There's a long list of significant moments that Jamal Lowe was involved in during his time at Portsmouth Football Club, and I look forward to seeing him play. Was hopefully wanting him back in a Pompey shirt, but looking forward to seeing him up at Hillsborough and back at Fratton Park. We also all know about Deschamps Bernard, who played a big role at Pompey during his time with us, impressed massively in my view, and has continued to flourish at Wednesday. A new contract for him is really good news. Expecting a positive season from Wednesday as long as the troublesome chap upstairs allows for a bit of peace and tranquility. There is so much for Danny Roll and his team to achieve. As always, looking forward to our trip to Hillsborough later on in the season. Is one of the amphitheatres of football in this great country. Stoke City next. Big thanks to Joe for sending this in.
So where do I think Stoke will finish and why? So it's a very interesting question because it's Schumacher's first season in charge. John Waters is the Spawn director. So it's sort of the start of a new project, you feel. Most Stoke fans would say that. There hasn't been many signings, but the ones that have been made are very encouraging. So I'll go middle of the road, 12th place. And regarding Portsmouth, well, it's really good to see them back in the Championship, actually. I'll probably try and visit Fratton Park if I can. I hope they stay up.
Joe's mentioned Schumacher there. There's an expectation for a strong season from the fan base this year. That's going to need a few additions, of course, before it all gets going next week. To what Stoke fans, I'm sure, will feel like a bit of a bizarre situation to be in. They were very much the capital of incomings this time last year, and they've had barely any so far. At the time of recording, they could really do with a striker. There are links to Oscar Zambrano. Not sure how strong those links are. He's been described as a real gem of a pickup, so we'll see if that one materialises further. Steven Schumacher's kind of mentioned how they are a work in progress in some of the pre-season stuff I've seen. Stoke fans will probably be a little bit bored of that by now. They felt like they've been in a work in progress cycle for quite some time now, so they want to be seeing some action, and that's hopefully what he can deliver for them. Here he is, Big KD on Sunderland.
Yes, lads, 4-0 written all over it is what the scoreline's going to be when we play Portsmouth home and away next season.
I think that was the scoreline last time we played you at Fratton Park, wasn't it, mate?
Sunderland, yeah. Where are we going to finish? That is the question. Now, I think if we sign a striker, we could definitely make the playoffs, but if we don't, it'll be another lacklustre season, I think, and we'll probably finish around mid-table, lower mid-table. As to Portsmouth, congratulations on getting promoted. Happy to say that you're joining us now. It wasn't a nice trip to Fratton Park last time, but we got our new manager, you know, so who knows what's going to happen. But I do look forward to visiting Fratton Park on the 31st, but I do think Portsmouth could finish in the top 10 this season.
Top 10's the most optimistic I think we've seen so far, so appreciate that. Regis Lepre is an interesting one. Sunderland fans, like all of us, I'm sure, won't really know too much of what to expect from him, albeit there's a relegation from Ligue 1 to Ligue 2 on his CV. They do, of course, have his track record to point to of developing young talent, and a very young squad at Sunderland, of course, getting older. These young talents are no longer teenagers, or most of them aren't any teenagers anymore. So Matteo Guendouzi, Ilan Meslier, just two of the names who have benefited from a Lebris guidance and developmental skill set. Let's hope Chris Rigg and Joe Bellingham are the next two of Lebris's successful beneficiaries. I mean this with the most respect possible. The Sunderland job is a difficult one to get right. It's an extremely passionate fan base. It's the fans rightly expect an awful lot of their team, one of the great footballing cities in this country, whereby the football club's woven into the fabric of the community. Let's hope it goes well for them. We're almost there, and everyone said we're staying up this season so far. Here's Reese.
So big thanks to Tom from Fournilwrittenalloverit for getting me onto his channel. I'm a Swansea City fan, Swansea City content creator, Swans Away Days. But yeah, my club, Swansea City, going to be a difficult season. A lot of good teams in division. The teams who have come up are very competitive and have had championship experience before, apart from Oxford probably. Teams who have come down, again, very, very strong. For Swansea, I'll probably go 14th for the moment with the business we've done. And for Portsmouth, like I say, great to see them back in the Championship. Hopefully they do survive, and I think they'll have a good season. And yeah, I'm looking forward to going to Fratton Park. Good luck for the rest of the season, Pompey, and hopefully I'll be seeing you soon, Tom.
Big thanks to Reese for sending that one over. Luke Williams heading into his first full season. Quite a few examples where this is actually the manager's first full season in charge. And again, that makes the Championship a difficult one to predict. A couple of flutters with the foreign market for Swansea too. Young lad from South Korea who's already been converting on the international stage. Nathan Wood's gone to you-know-where. Jerry Yates to Derby, of course, mentioned earlier on. No more Jamal, which we've already spoken about. Luke Williams, I think, is much more Swansea than his two predecessors. Certainly more than the recent. So I think 14th's about right. Watford is our penultimate club. Here's James.
Hello Portsmouth fans, James here reporting from the Watford Way, and I have to be honest, I'm not confident about Watford's prospects for the upcoming season. The division looks strong, especially with the newly promoted teams such as yourselves, so congratulations on your promotion, and I look forward to watching you guys next season. But unfortunately for Watford, yes, we've appointed Tom Cleverley, who the fans can get behind, but we have no money. You know, all the players we've signed so far have been free agents, including a backup goalkeeper and an aging Musa Sissoko in midfield, but an exciting prospect up front in forward Rocco Vata. So for me personally, I think it's going to be an okay season, but I can't see Watford finishing any higher than the 15th position.
Yeah, big job for Tom Cleverley at Watford. He is the 14th boss to kick off a Watford season in the last 14 seasons, and James is right. He is a uniting figure at the club. He's someone that the fan base can get behind. There is unrest with the ownership. Kone off to Marseille. They're no longer widely considered favourites. Parachute payments are over. They've stood still. They've gone backwards in the last 5 or 6 years. They were in the Premier League, of course, not too long ago. I like Tom Deli Bashiru, young lad from Ireland's under-21s, arriving at the club as well. Let's hope Tom Cleverley's given the time and tools to get Watford going again. Last but by no means least, West Brom. Here's Will.
Hello, from what I would like to say is sunny Tenerife, but it's actually quite cloudy Tenerife.
How you all doing? First of all, I just want to say congratulations to Pompey on their promotion back to the Championship last season. It's about time, really. You've been down there for too long. In terms of the Albion season, I reckon if we can get a few more signings in, we can replicate last season's finish in the top 6, get a playoff position. I think we're a striker away, probably another midfielder away, and probably a left back away from finishing in the top 6. We've lost a few players this summer, brought a few in, but we've got a fantastic manager in Carlos Corberán who really understands the club, and I'm confident if he can get a few more players in, we'll do really well this season.
Yes, an exciting time at West Brom. They've got new ownership. They've got Carlos Corberán, as Will mentioned, who will have even more scope to better West Brom's fortunes. He's got a cracking keeper. Jed Wallace is one of my all-time Pompey favourites in living memory. Love that man to bits. On the flip side, Brandon Thomas Asante is quite a sizable outgoing and will need replacing Sharpish. They're in the priority, of course, will be bringing in a goal scorer. Can West Brom bag themselves another playoff spot? Well, that is it. Every club covered in a bumper Championship prediction special. Again, a massive thank you to absolutely everybody involved in this. I literally couldn't have done it without you. Thank you to you at home for watching as well. Depending on how this goes, we may well be back with a 1 to 24 predictions full on. If not, we'll be back in about a week or so's time at Ellen Road for the opening episode of Fournilwrittenalloverit this season and the inaugural voyage of our Championship journey after over 12 years away. Until then, keep the faith and as always, play up Pompey.